All right. Check 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Okay. Check 1, 2. Okay. Audio sounds good. Morning, everybody. Let's view this. Let's just see. Just change this up, the live stream. There we go. And we are live. Perfect. Hey guys, how's everybody doing? And girls. Let's see here. Participants. Still having some challenges finding my chat here. There it is. Good. Okay, good. This. All right, looks like everything's working on my end. See, there's quite a few people here. All right, good. So let's get started, folks. Welcome. It is, take this out of my ear so I'm not hearing my echo. It is December 15th, 2020, and we're coming close to Christmas right now. So, good morning, Oksana. Good morning. It's getting close to Christmas right now, so things are kind of slowing down a little. I think my oil alert just went off. Just let's take a peek at that real quick. Yeah. So oil's crawling up to a zone here. Kind of get started real quick. Just so everybody knows that this is for educational purposes only. Let me go through this stuff first. Um, past represent, it's for educational purposes only. I think everybody understands that. Just because I take a trade doesn't mean you should take a trade, and nobody should trade unless they fully understand the risk involved in trading. And there is trading and risk. Of course, all trading involves risk. So make sure you fully understand that before you get involved in any type of trades. Now, just to get started here, we had an alert just trigger in oil. Oil had a really nice little level over here. It's an intraday level. It's kind of an older level now. We've gotten close to that a couple times. We just touched it, and I've been waiting for this so I could take a short. So let's just zoom in on this a little bit. The zone is 47.59 to 47.48. It's well within range of risk. The move to the zone is not a pretty move, as many people could probably recognize. It's basically chopping its way in there, which means there's going to be all kinds of obstacles underneath. And if you look at any of the time frames, 60 minute, 60 minutes, you got a bit of range for movement. 30 minute, was that 20, 70, 20, so 30 ticks. 15 minute, yeah, and then you start looking at maybe a 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 trade at best, but that's okay. I'm not afraid of taking 1-to-1 to 2-to-1 trades. Going to look at this as an opportunity, but I'm going to try and get a zone entry here as it pushes a bit deeper in there. Oil doesn't open up for a half hour yet, so there is time. It doesn't look like it's going to give us much of a push. I'm just looking at the 1 minute chart right here. So I'm watching that 1 minute chart. Whoops, just moved my lines there. It's kind of hesitating. Yeah, will it go higher or lower? That's a question. Probably going to go higher a bit. Let's take that trade. I'm going to jump on this, see if we get a bit better push in. Not happening. All right. Okay, so a little bit out, and that's okay. Might have just been a pullback, but I'm going to look at this. We need it really to break this first level here and get down. Now we're on a 1 minute chart, so there's going to be a lot of noise in there. Go to a 5 minute chart here. Yeah, so this is where we want to get back down to. the thing I don't like about this trade is just look at how it's just been mellowing. It's not an exhaustion move going into that level, and it took a lot of time to build up before this level even occurred. So this is the first trade of the day. I tend to only make a trade or two, and then we'll see how that pans out. Okay, so let that one go. That's by the way, this is gold, or sorry, I should say oil. Oil has been in an uptrend. A 240-minute chart. Take a look at so you can see it. It's been trending up. It's kind of gotten back to this high again. It just broke above that pivot high. And a lot of times when you get a break above a pivot high, a significant pivot high, what ends up happening is a lot of the buy stops will trigger and give a push, and then they'll sell into that push and get all the buy stop orders stopped out. The question is, how high will the push go? So it could go higher than this level. It may not. Probably should have legged in with one contract and a second contract because, again, it's counter trend trade. We'll see what happens. What do we got here in terms of 12, 14 ticks? So for 280, yeah, it's okay. We'll let that play. Let's go back to a 5. We'll let that one play out. Let's move over to natural gas, which has been trending down quite nicely and no setup at the moment. Um, Looks like it's building a bit of a, this is what I like about nat gas here. Looking at the 60-minute, see this lower high, that's significant. It actually kind of already retested slightly. Oops, let me just move this. One second, sorry folks. Just forgot to open up one of my programs here. Yeah, it's already beginning to move down slightly, which is good. That's what you want to see. You've got this major pivot low right here, and it has been in a higher time frame uptrend. So, got it. There we go. And so this lower high becomes a significant area. Now it hasn't broken below that pivot low. When it does, there's going to be more areas that will become interesting to us. Just go back to setting this up quickly. There we go. Sorry about that. Just give me a second, folks. I'm trying to organize myself slightly. Um, all right, let's take a peek. What's oil doing? Still sitting there. That's what I didn't want to see. I was looking more for a strong push off straight away. Didn't get that strong push right away. Just kind of gave the little hesitation, like, we're going to go, and then kind of stopped. Let's give it a little bit longer. Natural gas. So once again, natural gas is kind of just holding right there on that 60-minute. It's kind of pushed already away from it. It's below the 50 and the 8 and the 20. This is the 8 and the 21 moving averages here, and that's a 50 SMA. So those are EMAs and SMAs. And by the way, anybody watching right now, you're welcome to chat. I know there's more people watching, but very few people chat. I guess I wonder how you put, yeah, you can type chat in there. Okay. Looks like nat gas is going to drop. Go back to crude oil for a second. Yeah. All right. So it's at 40 bucks, 60 bucks. Nothing significant. It's got a lot to get through before it's going to be actually worth anything to us. All right. Euro. I got this chart fixed yesterday. We had some issues with it. I did actually work on this quite a lot yesterday, so I think I've got this all figured out now. Start off with a 240 minute. All right, so euro trending up. Go to 60. Nice setup. Okay, so euro barely, just barely pierced that low. But what that does is it makes this area here significant, lower high. Just, I mean, barely. But it does become a significant area. Problem is with the euro. Wow, look at that move down, hey? Jeez. Actually, there's no problem with that. Overnight area, lower volume. If we break this down to a smaller time frame, there's a massive amount of time spent right there. Huge amount of time. How wide is that? Let's take a peek how wide that zone, that level is. 17 ticks. That may be something to watch. Okay, so I'll set an alert on that one. We'll keep an alert for that one. Canadian dollar, I haven't looked at yet this morning. Just kind of getting warmed up here. Wow, traded between our levels quite nicely yesterday. It's funny that they're not showing up on this chart. There they are. Nice trade on Canadian dollar yesterday. Pulled out, I don't know what it was, 300 and something, 400, 1, 2, 3, 400 and something. And it traded basically right one level to the other level. Could have carried that one a lot further. Would have been a really, really nice day had it done so, which it did not. But that level held beautifully twice now. And supply, this sell area up here, it's kind of retracing itself back up there right now. So got to keep an eye on that. There's a new significant level that has formed on this chart. If we take a look right here, we're on a 15. Yeah, we're on a 15. So there's a significant level right here. Keep an eye for that one. Wrong color. Right there. So we'll keep an eye for that one and we'll send an alert on that. It's actually trending away from it right now. So it probably isn't going to get back there. There's actually a new level that formed right there and it's already been hit. So there could be a level right here too. Um, not as much liking this level as I am this one. So I'll just leave that one up there. This level here, which has been hit multiple times, it's going to be less likely to work right now. Now we have a good intraday one candle level right there, which will be more of a 5-minute level. Yeah, but that's not a very good level. Let's take a look on 60-minute really quick. It's not even on a 60-minute. Back to 15. Somebody's saying crude is pushing. Yep, crude is pushing higher. That's okay. It's still early. Let's go back to CAD. All right, so yeah, there's two different levels here. We've got the 5-minute level, which is right here, and then a 15-minute level, which is right here. And they're good volume, both of them, but they're really only one time frame levels. The 15-minute level is not visible in the 5, and the 5 is not visible in the 15. So these aren't high quality levels. They're levels, but they're just not high quality. So we'll put them on there, but we'll just remain kind of in between on whether or not we'll do anything when price gets there. Let's take a look at the S&P once again. So the S&P, it actually trailed really nicely off the 15-minute chart here. And I took a gander at it as I was getting set up, and I thought, that looks like a buy opportunity. Didn't take it because just it's a moving average trade. There's one thing supporting it, and it's only on one time frame it's being supported. So I'll explain what I mean. Looking at a 60-minute chart, can see that yes, we've begun the upward move here, and sure, it's kind of double bottomed out and it's trending up, but it's nowhere near anything supporting price. There's nothing supporting price there. If I go to a 15-minute chart, all of a sudden I find, okay, yeah, so it's trailing off that moving average. And okay, that's great. That's one time frame supporting price. If I go to a 5-minute chart, once again, in sort of supporting price, it's kind of broken through those moving averages, which means they're weaker. It did get the break back above, but it means they're weaker. So really, there's really only one thing supporting price, and that's, a higher risk. Doesn't mean you can't take it. Sometimes it continues, but it's not as high of a probability. So if I go back to a 60 minute, I'll show you guys what I was looking at here on a 60 minute. Right here, if you look at a 60, there is a level of interest right there on a 60. And I got to be a little bit more accurate than that. Let me just fix this up a little bit. Right there. So right there on a 60 minute, that is far more interesting to me. Problem with the S&P is it is one of those asset classes that will tend to push through some levels. So we got to be a little bit careful about that. We'll keep an eye out for that. All right, so see this. Leave that right there. All right, so how's oil looking? Nice. Up 140, up 160. Now comes the moment of truth. So here we go. Let's go back to oil and do a little explanation. All right, so we knew there was a level there. We knew it was high quality, well, pretty decent quality. Now we got to break through moving averages. And this moving average, which this was where it was initiated and turned on. That's an algo clicking the moving average on, right? First touch gave a small push, then it pushed through, clicked it on again, and then it's on. Now it's on. Boom. And now we're testing it a second time. So there's no guarantee this is still going to make money. I mean, you want to pull it 100, pull it 100. You want to pull it 150, pull it 150. But there's no guarantee. This could just still be on and just be a pullback, and then it continues. I would like to see it get lower. These targets are not like set in stone. I'll move them around if I feel like, oh, people are chatting. Sorry about that. I'll move them around if I feel like I want to. I'm not afraid of taking a less than 1-to-1 or more than 1-to-1. I I just want to take the money. This is real money I'm trading with. This isn't a simulated account. And the goal is to make money, not to make losses. So to give back 200 or 150 to take a $250 loss is not necessary in some cases. But also you want to try and let those trades run as best possible. Okay, I want to chat all the time. Careful, careful. I'm short the S&P from yesterday. Oh, nice. You're still in that. So you're swing trading on the futures, huh? Um, Yesterday, I think it was way up there yesterday. So short the S&P, looking to add to my position, trying to learn how to swing trade. Okay. All right. I'm presuming probably micros because that makes it a lot easier to swing trade with when learning nowadays for futures. It's made it shorted 36.87. 36.87. Wow, nice short. Great, way up there, huh? Beautiful. Yeah, I remember we were discussing that yesterday and you said that you had taken that short. Well done. I don't really see the reason. Oh, I see. You got a little level right here. 85, 86, 87. Must have been off that little level right there. It's all right. There was a couple levels on top of levels, and they were both intraday levels. They were both really nice. They weren't located where I like to get in, but that's okay. Look at that. It still works. Nothing wrong with that. Personal preferences. Beautiful. Well done. All right. So what do we got? 10 minutes before oil opens. I don't know if I want to hold this thing into open. I'm not even on oil right now. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Okay. Yeah, oil's catching a bid before they open here. All right, we'll let it go for a bit longer. Let's take a look at copper. Wow, that's quite the push down right there off copper. Now, taking a look at copper here, let's pull this up to a 15 minute. This is a very similar setup to what Oksana was just talking about here in copper. Okay, so let's go to a 15 right there. There is a level in copper right there. Hasn't gotten there yet. It's not an intraday level though. So there's the difference. This is one of those, in between the pivot high reversal and the pivot low reversal levels. And so it becomes what we call a bull trap. People buying on the breakout above the highs, and then it rallies up into a supply, a level of orders, and then they sell into that rally and reverse the trade and stop out the traders that chase price. It's not a high as quality as the one Oksana was looking at over here on the S&P, which her level on the 15-minute chart. Oh, what did I just do? On the 15-minute chart, I get back there, was a much better quality level, nicer quality level. There was two, actually, if you go on a 5-minute chart, the levels were right here, nicer quality levels. And they were right above, again, those break pivot highs. So as it broke out beyond those pivot highs, it rallied up into an area where there were some sell orders, and that was their sell signal. So good for her. Great trade. Well done. Well done. All right, let's take a look. Oil's basically doing nothing. Just waiting for the open in 8 minutes, basically sitting flat. It's got a nice pattern on the 1-minute chart. So if we go to a 1-minute chart here, oops, it's setting up like it's going to go lower. So we'll probably get a second leg down. That 50-minute, 50 period moving average kind of held there, and that was correlated with the 8. So if we look at the 50 period on the 1 and then the 5, 8 period EMA, you can see they correlated. So I would expect we'll probably get down somewhere to this area on this trade. And that's okay. About 1.5 to 1 on that first initial setup, and we'll take that if we can get there before the open. The open can do anything. And if we're trending up, it'll likely be buyers that start jumping on in the open. We'll see how that works. All right, what have we looked at? Gold. All right, so gold had a couple levels from yesterday in gold. Looks like the one worked. What time did that hit? 4:25 this morning. Looked like it gave a second push a little bit later, and that was the breakout above those. That was the breakout above those pivot highs. There's the fake, right? The break up, the fake out, pivot low, broke to new high, and then it retested the moving averages, and those moving averages turned on, and look at that. Now it's rallying. So this level has no more effect. Let's get rid of that. We have a few levels above. This was again a intraday level. Let's take a look at a 15-minute chart here on oil. Need to look at that level. So it's a 15-minute. Let's take a look on a 30. Yeah, it's visible on a 30, 60. No. So a 30-minute, 15-minute level. The level above is not visible at all. 60, 15. Okay, it's a 5-minute level above. Let's go take a look at that. So you got a kind of little hiccup off this little level right here, which is only again visible in a couple time frames. It's always better when we get levels that were created around an hourly candle. Those just seem to be the more likely levels. None of these levels have really been created on that time frame, except for this one up here, but that's not even a level on a 60 minutes, so it's not really visible. These were just little levels that were created in between the break of that pivot high to that new pivot low. They're somewhere in between, and not really qualified levels to my trade rules. I put them on there just to mark them in, and guess see what happens. Gold has just been trending. It's trending quite nicely. Those become obstacles in the way of the trend. 5 minutes left. We've got to keep an eye on that oil trade. What's going on with oil? Up 80 bucks. I guess it's not bad when you think about it. It's only been a half an hour of work. American dollars, that's like a gajillion Canadian dollars. Oh. Need that push down. May not get it just before the open. We'll see. Let's take a better look here. It's the only open trade I got, so I got to give it some attention. All right, let's wait another minute or two. S&P, it did pull back, and then it kind of gave a bounce off that 8 moving average again. Let's zoom in on this a little bit. So that 21 moving average was triggered, and it gave a push, and now it looks like it might be failing. So it might be creating itself a double top here. When we get really close to the open, it kind of gets a little bit more challenging to, set these trades up. It's almost better to start trading at like 4 a.m., 4:15. Um, and I used to do that. Just don't have the wherewithal to wake up that early anymore. All right, so oil's up 200 bucks, starting to move finally. Again, 3 minutes left. Probably going to be willing to flatten this trade out here pretty quick, simply because I don't want to get caught in that open swing. Oh, I didn't even screen print this thing. Oh, that was a mistake. I think I missed my opportunity to take that one off. All right, there we go. Just 1 second here. Trying to remember what that setup was. Was that a... Um, all right. Come on, drop. Right now, I'm actually watching. Yeah, it's not gonna fucking move. Sorry, not gonna work the way I wanted it to. And this open starts in 2 minutes. It's already begun its push up. We'll flatten this out. I'm not gonna get steamrolled by the open volatility that comes in. So I'll make sure to get out of this before it happens. It's a 50-50 chance it could move up or it could move down. It can do either one. But yeah, you think it's gonna drop? You think oil's gonna drop, Oksana? It's got the setup like it looks like it could, but now it's showing that those buyers are coming back in. Hmm. 1 minute left. There it goes. All right, so we'll hold it a little bit longer. It's a bit better. It's got the setup. It looks like it should. The question is, will they swing it up first to hit the stops before they swing it down? That's the question. And we're open on oil. I'm watching the 1 minute chart here. Let's put that up right there. Look at that setup. It looks like it's setting up to go lower. But again, at the open, that becomes irrelevant because they can push it up 30 ticks before they push it lower. And if you trade oil, that happens quite often. And there it goes up. So the profitable trade becomes the losing trade. Ultimately, that can happen in trading. We'll see if this zone holds a second time. This level holds a second time. So the open range breakout triggered to the long side on a 5 minute right there. So that's important to note because all those open range breakout triggers just actually got triggered long, both on a 5 and a 15 minute. So they're trapping them and stopping them out on the wrong side of the trade. Let's move that target down a little bit here. Try and capture a bit more as it's now starting to work in the right direction. Now it's triggered to the short side for the open range breakout traders. So there's the volatility swing up and down. Yeah, I'm out. All right, so I jumped out of this because what we're doing right now is all it's doing is it's running stops up and down. Probably got out too early, obviously. 30 bucks profit, 60 bucks profit. But this volatility swing is basically just pushing back and forth. And I'm scalping money out of here, so probably should have jumped out when I had a couple $100 of profit in there. That's okay. Let's see what's going to happen. We can always get back in. All right, still just swinging back and forth. Yep. Nat gas real quick. All right. Look at this. 1, 2. It's working on its third run up on the opening candle. 3 run ups on the opening candle. So it keeps trying to break through that level is what's happening. Alarm's going off right there. Okay. There we go. All right, see what happens here. So oil open, copper's pushing down. So it looks like copper's failing its high. It just broke below that 352. So copper's gone bearish. Gold is failing off that level. It's back into its moving average range. S&P still doing nothing. Oil still doing nothing. 29 seconds left in this candle on oil. Yeah, it's gonna, I mean, it sure looks like it wants to go lower, but then again, it's oil. So let's give it a minute and see if it gives us an actual good signal. Let's move this to a 5 minute candle. It just closed that 5 minute right there. Looks good. Gold's moving. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's that level did have some effect without a doubt. And with the open here, looks like gold is pushing. Yeah. So what I need to happen in gold, that's a nice exhaustion move, but I need these 15-minute moving averages to break. I need it to make a lower pivot low. Then I'll become interested. I mean, you could sell up here at the supply. And these zones are just, they're not the type of levels I normally take. They're great. There's nothing wrong with them. We marked them in there, but, and not to say that I wouldn't take one, but I need to see a break below those moving averages and that pivot low and then push back up and give me a setup. Oil. Now oil's starting to go. It's setting up. Okay. Well, anyways, that's all right. Copper. See, copper's making not so much on the 15 minute, but actually it might be viable on that 15 minute. Let's look right here at this, right there. So on that 15-minute level, 15-minute just set up that little tiny level right there. I like that. If we can get a push back up there, I want that. It's going to go off immediately. Got to wait a little longer before I can set that one until that 15-minute candle closes. I can set it over here. All right. So we'll wait for that price to make that retracement back up. And that's going to be an area that I'm going to be interested in. Gold has not set up anything yet. The S&P is still just chopping. These moving averages are not active at the moment. Or at least they're not really active. They're moving price slightly, but not a lot. Oil is, I mean, it's still just setting up that look like it's going to go lower. Yeah, it will. So missed out on that one. That's okay. That happens. I tend to be a little bit more cautious, especially when trading in front of other people. All right. So I wonder if there's a way of, hmm, okay. All right. So oil starting to go down. Should have held. Euro. All right. So there's a level on euro. We talked about this level. It's an overnight level, low volume, kind of eh, but its location's good. And the, potential setup to it, if it comes from here, there's going to be profit potential. So that might be a viable area right there. On the downside, we're on a 15-minute chart. On a 5 minute, it's already kind of triggered that. Okay. Let's go to Canadian dollar. I mean, I love that setup on Canadian dollar, but it's already been used. This is an intraday setup. It's just going to be tough to time a reversal in this area here. So let's send an alert. Can keep an eye on it when it gets there and just watch it. Oil's starting to move. It's okay. Copper, no retracement yet. Gold is back in its moving averages on a 5. Okay, let's move this out of the way for a sec here. So what I need to do here quickly is scan through options for a sec. It looks like after I logged off yesterday, the market started to sell off. Just bought a duplex and just got one side rented. Now I'm renovating the other side for rental, and I'm doing the work myself just because it's fun, but also to make it cost efficient. These contractors right now are unbelievable. 150, 60 bucks an hour is crazy. Anyway, so that's where I've been spending all my days. I'm in front of my computer most of the day, but till this is done and rented, I'm going to be over there just working on it. So what do we got here? So it looks like we had a bit of a pullback on some of these. Take a look at IBM. We got into IBM and it's kind of sold off against us here. Not looking so pretty on IBM. Wow. It's like something changed yesterday afternoon by looks of it. The SPY just really, really sold off hard. Kraft Heinz, Exxon. So we got KO. KO. Yeah, everything basically started coming back. CMCSA. And MDT. God, I'm gonna have to get rid of that one, I think. Okay. Just one sec. Excuse me. All right. Let's quickly do a scan about here, see what's going on. All right, so that level on gold's working. Not the kind of level I'd normally take, and it's dropping quite nicely though. Working its way back to its moving averages. S&P looks like it's coming down a bit before the open. Copper has not retraced to that entry yet. Oil, yeah, it's pushing lower. Damn it, should have held on to oil. My bad. Euro, no, nothing on euro. And Canadian dollar, sorry, nat gas, nothing on nat gas. Euro's pushing back up, looking like it's setting up. Canadian dollar, nothing on Canadian dollar. Okay. All right, let's quickly go here. Equities. Gonna start scanning a little bit for some options, get an idea where the markets are for some of these trade setups here. Always start off by looking at Apple. We were looking at Apple as potential yesterday and saying there wasn't a whole lot of reward to risk Pretty significant level of resistance above. It's begun selling off as most of the equities started dragging down yesterday. Not sure why, but we got a bit of a sell-off here on the SPY. If I pull up the SPY first, yeah, sell-off on the SPY, and we talked about this in the morning. Said that gap up could lead to a wick up and then a sell-off, and that's basically exactly what happened. Doesn't mean that it's over, that the trend is going to reverse and it's going to go down forever, but it's not a good sign when, we're positioned long the market. All right, so I just had a futures alert go off, so let's take a quick peek at that. See where that was. Okay, that's copper. It's coming back up. So zoom into copper a little bit. So this level's location is not fantastic. I mean, up here would be much better. But let's quickly measure the risk in this trade. Yeah, pretty small amount of risk. What are we looking at? So you got to make a decision at a point here. You start going through the analysis. Are we holding on that 60? Is that the deal here? Is this actually beginning its new uptrend? Did it just come down to test this level and now it's pushing higher? Or is this going to be an actual viable area for it's only a 15-minute and 5-minute zone, so it's on it's showing up on 2 time frames, not 3, but it does have moving averages confluencing in that area. On a 15, even though they're inverted, and on a 5. So yeah, I would say this would be an area that I'd be interested in selling at. So let's set that up. All right. So short copper. Oh wow, terrible fill. It started moving before I got a chance, I guess. That's all right. All right, so short copper on that little tiny level right there. And got a really bad fill on that. Wow. And copper is one of those 1250 a tick charts, which sucks. Probably should have single contract in and then single contract. That's okay. Let's keep an eye on that one. Do some screen printing. Just a second. All right. All right. Let's see how we're doing here. All right. Copper's been documented. Got a bad entry. It's okay. Let's see what happens with copper. Gold. S&P. Oh, the S&P is catching a bid. Look at that. 10 minutes before the open. It's not a bad push on a candle right there. It's a nice setup. Point and a half too high for me. Copper's pushing. Come on. Drop copper. Oil's still kind of dropping. Natural gas. Euro's getting back up to that level. Canadian dollar kind of stuck. Okay, back to the options. So yeah, bit of a sell-off here. And it looks like today we're going to open up higher. So kind of recouping some of that drop from yesterday. Let's take a look at IBM. IBM does not look like it's recouping as much as I'd hoped. Not looking fantastic considering our entry. That was a nice setup, but looks like it wants to go a little deeper first. That's okay. Let's take a look at Dow's going to be down a little. Opening flat. What else is there here? Manufacturing, industrial numbers. Got Coca-Cola. Yeah, just everything's flat. Coke is just up slightly. CMCSA, Comcast. Yeah, it says I'm up on Comcast somehow. Oh, pre-market. Yeah, I'm up on pre-market. MDT. Yeah, MDT's got a pretty nice gap up. Not looking too bad on MDT. Looks like it's gapping over its trend line. What is that? 1435. Yeah, nice gap. Okay, well, we'll see how that plays out. Good, good, good. Nothing too shabby there. Looks like Comcast finally starting to move down slightly. Or not Comcast, Copper. Let's let this thing drop a little bit. Take a peek at Copper here. Yeah, well, it's kind of just hanging around, not really making much of a decision. Down and up and down and up. Okay. We are 8 minutes from the open of the market. Yeah, renovation project's pretty interesting. The oh, flooring and tearing out the ceiling and just reconditioning the walls and redoing the cabinets and just, you name it. This copper trade's not looking great. Let's pull it up here. This copper trade's looking actually terrible. Got a bad slip on the fill, and now it's pushing higher, which is, I mean, it would have been better if I'd gotten a fill I wanted. It's taking on a little bit more risk than I would like. Well, let's see what happens, I guess. Okay, focus on the options for the morning. So yesterday Netflix came up on our list and we were talking about wanting to buy that. Of course, the risk involved in Netflix was more than I was willing to take, so passed on it. And of course, it did move quite nicely on Netflix. That's okay. CSR, this one is actually setting up nicely. So it is a Tuesday. The S&P dropped yesterday, and I'm seeing some stocks that look like they held quite nicely, even though the S&P went down. And so that becomes important observation. Let's go back to options on these. And I know it's pre-market still, but this one has about 500, 450 open interest with pre-market, mind you. It's a 50-cent spread on a $12 contract. So we're looking at about 4%, 3 or 4% spread. So that's an acceptable one. So CSR will mark on our list as an option of interest. Let's go. CZR. or as you'd say in the States, CZR. I'm up here in Canada. We could use a different language in Canada. 5 minute, new 5 minute candle opened. All right. So we got a couple things here. All right, CZR, PNN. Its move was yesterday. So the first question is you got to kind of ask yourself is, hey, is this a day that I should be looking to even buy an option? I am out of copper. Copper sucked. All right, let me just journal this really quick. This may end up a negative day for futures, which is never good. Especially when it didn't have to be. All right, good. Okay. Okay, where are we here? Looking at oil as a long setup right now here. 15 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute chart setup. It's too close to that moving average, or too close to that level. Okay, back to task on hand. Here we go. So CZR, pen. Yeah, I guess the question you got to ask yourself is, does it make sense to actually take a trade today looking at where the S&P is, so the SPY. So what we had yesterday was a really big pullback into this range of moving averages. And sometimes these pullbacks can go lower, right? You might have that pullback. It's a gap up and a sell-off, which is a scary thing, right? You can have that gap up and sell-off, and that might continue lower. Maybe even, um, below the moving averages. But I'd be shocked if it didn't hold here for a few days first. In fact, I'd be kind of shocked if it went down because they're talking about more monetary stimulus, and typically stimulus fuels the economy and it makes the economy, the equity markets rally. So it wasn't overextended, like here. This is overextended. It was just kind of trailing up those moving averages nicely, and we had a sell-off. Then we had the kind of the drop and buying, and then a gap up, and then a sell-off again. So right now, I mean, it could go either way, obviously, but it's not really, in my idea, like any significant sell signal here. It's more of just a pullback in the context of an uptrend. And you can see it's done this before, and it ends up in a rally. It's had sell-offs that end up in a rally, and then it's had sell-offs that end up in a short-term pop and then a drop. So where are we in that context? That's what we have to ask ourselves. We've seen this. Um, if you go by measured moves, right? You see we have a double leg retracement. Oops, come on, leading to a move up. Come on, there we go. And then we had another double leg retracement leading to a move up. And we've not nearly completed that move if we're going by measured moves. So, you could say, have we completed an equal move to what was happening before? And the answer is no. So this could just be a pullback in the context of that trend. We'll see. You don't know until the institutions show us. That's just it. We just basically mosey about our way and hope that we get on this 50-50 side of the coin, we flip an answer correctly. All right, let's take a look at some of the markets here. S&P futures is opening up. Looks like we have a push a bit higher. We got a level above here, but typically taking levels into opening markets is a bad move. It's a 15-minute level. It's a few levels above. On the 5-minute, on the 15, it's really only the one right there. Okay, so let's see how this opens up. Not much happening. Gold is still pulled back. Good. Copper, open up. Wow, came right up to the top, and now it's actually kind of hesitating. All right. Oil, legging lower. Okay, good. Interesting. See, there was the missed trade. I should have been on that. Should have held that. You were right, Oksana. I should have held it. Natural gas. Euros pushing higher. Okay. CAD still kind of stalled out. Back to the S&P. All right, so the S&P did a trigger on the open range breakout to the upside and faked out. If looking at a 5-minute chart here, let's take this to a 5-minute. The open range breakout on the 5-minute candle would have triggered right here. On the 15, it would have triggered right there at the same price level. And if it was on a range, it would have triggered right there on the same price level. So it faked out to the upside and it stopped out. And now it just triggered to the downside on the 5 and the 15 and even on the consolidation range. And now it's stopping out on the downside. So the open range breakout trade failed again. On the index, and it failed on oil as well. All right, Apple gapped up. Nice gap up on Apple. Let's take a look at some of these trades. Dow gapped up. It's kind of pulling back. IBM gapped up. It's kind of pulling back. SPY gapped up. It's holding. NASDAQ gapped up nicely. Coke gapped up and it's running. Comcast gapped up and is running up. MDT gapped up and pulled back. So this is, yeah. All right. So what do we have? Is gold going to hold here or what? It's a big risk in there. Take a look at gold. 23 ticks. It's a bit much. Maybe for one contract. On a 5-minute chart, though, it looks like a drop-based drop setup. Yeah, it's caught between those moving averages, just like that copper trade was. Where it just kind of got nailed between the moving averages on the 15-minute chart on the entry. Whoops. Yeah. And then it pushed back up. Those trades can be higher risk, whereas not enough confluencing information. Yeah, crude oil is pushing back. Okay. 20, 34, it's 15 ticks. Is it going to be a double top area? Let's take a look. This might set up for a short setup here. Give this a bit of time. Got an alert. That's probably the euro. There it is, right there. So the euro is pushing up nicely into that. It's a low volume level, unfortunately, but it is a level. Not certain I want to take it. Been trading there an awful lot. Hmm. Might be good for a one-to-one. I don't know. I need to start looking at some options here soon. Okay. Nothing looks too strange. T's pulling back a little bit. It's just that IBM trade. Okay. Euros missed it by a tick. CAD must be pushing as well. No, CAD's flat. All right, natural gas. So natural gas, which had that nice drop in the morning there, it's retracing beyond all of that, back up above the moving averages. They're inverted still, but on the 5 minute, it's above. 60 minute, it's coming into those moving averages. 15 minute, yeah. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that gas. Oil's pushing. Get rid of this right here. Let's take a look at the S&P. It's just basically doing its big swings, stopping people out. Gold looks like it's going lower. Huh. I was honestly thinking it might have gone higher on that 15 minute. Then it left that candle and looks like it's going lower. Okay, let's get back to the options here. Not showing, yeah, not showing enough. It's starting to pick up though. It looks like it might be now. It's going to be fighting through all those moving averages. Um, oh, fuck, there goes copper. God, this is the day this is one of my bad, annoying days where my analysis is correct, but my brain is not functioning like it should. Yeah, here's the challenge on gold. It's above the moving averages on the 60 and the 15, and it's still just kind of fighting its way through those. That's going to take time. I should have got his own entry on that copper trade. It's okay. All right, let's go back to options. Okay, so we were looking at CZR. All right. So first 10 minutes is passed. I usually like to wait about 15 minutes. This is good because it's above all the moving averages. Even on the hourly is now reversed. It's actually looking good, but it's still inverted to the 50. It's not really in a full uptrend yet. It's still just kind of in that consolidation correction mode of what was a short-term downtrend, which was right here. So looking at this chart, still wanting to enter this thing, I've got that nice like uppercut setting up, but we need this to really take off. This gap up, I honestly wish it hadn't gapped up. I wish it had opened flat and then ran up. But this gap up in the S&P is it's what's holding us back. People are deciding, should I take some profit now? Was it going to do double leg takedown here? Sorry, on the S&P. it's wondering if it's going to do like a double leg takedown or what's happening. So we're not getting good timing on entries right now. Comcast is running quite nicely. Let's take a look at this here. Yeah, it's just IBM that's really kind of sagging. Everything else, all the other positions are looking not bad. And this one's just not shaping up. So let's take a look for stuff that is. Let's take a look at Lilly. Eli Lilly. Wow, look at that. Even on a weekly chart. Broke above that high and is holding on that 8 moving average and pushing. Now this is one that I would say is too high for me to enter. Kind of get in those stages where it's like I don't want to buy at the highs like that. Just had a big gap up and starting to run. What do I see here? Consolidating. 57 to 61. Jeez, it's pushing so fast. Let's see what the options are like. Yeah, lots of volume. Wow. $2 spread. Why is that? It's a $2 spread. It's too early in the morning. So simply not going to take that one. Um, that setup was looking very bearish. Very bearish. Got below the moving averages and now it's catching a bid. What am I missing here? You know what? I'm not going to take that. That's a little too risky for me. This one looks better, obviously. Western Digital. WDC. Looks like it's got some room to move as well. That's a nice setup. It's a little bit far away. Again, it's a little far from what I would like. So this is going to have a bad reward to risk. Really liking the weekly chart setup. Like nice rally, potential base, and a rally. A little early to tell for sure. Pretty strong move already. Dang, look at that. The risk on this is going to be bigger. $60.50 risk. But that only takes us back to the 8. You really got to go lower than that. Basically $2.50 in risk for potential. Yeah, I guess the reward to risk will work. How's the options? 1300 open interest. Spread, it's a bit wide right now. Almost 8%. But I'm going to look at this one. So what are we looking at? 52.69. So let's pull this up. As the S&P is still doing nothing anyway. Now, I don't want to buy it here. And because of that, I'm going to miss out on some of these trades. I want to get a pullback. I want this thing to do another pushback before it goes up. So I'm going to plot out the price of the option. So pull this up right here. Looking at the April 16, 2021 option, that's 122 days till this contract expires, and looking at the 152.50. So it's trading at 585 to 620. That's obviously a pretty wide range. Going to set up a buy right there. I'm also going to open up a chart of the options pricing. There it is. And this kind of gives us an idea of where it's been trading in this time. So it's 590 to 620, 615. So the price is pulling back a little for us. Gotta hate that all these things open up. There we go. So we're high right now from where it was. Yesterday it was 520. Today it's 590. Somebody just had a pretty good day. So I would look at going down 2/3 of the way because I would like to try and get it near the open price, which would be about 52.09. It's at 52.58. And that is the opening price for the option, but not necessarily the opening price. It closed yesterday at 51.10. So I would say if I could get a fill at, if I got a fill at 45, I think it'd be a bit greedy. Maybe 50, 50, 50, 550, sorry. So I'm going to look for setting up an order at 550, which is lower than the mid. We're going outside. 50. Set that up good till cancel. And take a screen print. There we go. Let's move this over. It's no big rush because obviously these are limit entries. So um, there we go. All right, let's transmit this order. Oops, what just happened here? Transmit. Make sure everything's correct. Yep, there we go. All right, I didn't screen print that, sorry. Okay, so that's been transmitted and it should give an approximate entry somewhere in and around this area. Should price pull back a little bit for us? Interesting. Don't need that one anymore. Don't need that. Open windows I don't need. There we go. Let's screen print this. Snip. And interesting. Wonder what that means. All right. So that option trade has been set but not filled. It's a limit entry. So that means that order is going to sit dormant until until price decides to come down and make that entry for us. Simple as that. Okay, now let's keep looking for more opportunities. So Mitch is another one. Match group's been trailing that moving average quite nicely. Had a pretty significant sell-off yesterday, pushed it back below that hourly moving averages. But that's pretty common for this one. It tends to do deeper retracements. This is probably more like a 3-hour chart that's required here. Where's my 3-hour chart? Where's the 130 minute? 90. My 3-hour chart has vanished. Okay, that's okay. Oops. So basically, it's actually catching a bid today, which is kind of nice. Um, I'm a little reluctant to buy it because this one does tend to do deeper retracements. You're gonna need a stop $8 away, $9 away, and that's just beyond what I accept. So it's not gonna work for me. Other people, for sure. Me, not so much. Take a look at CDE, mining. So this is in a weekly range and it's towards the high end of that range. And even though it's a nice setup on a chart, it's not acceptable. There's no measurable amount of risk when you're buying at the high end of a consolidation that's that wide. All right, so this is an interesting one. We see here on Cabot Gas and Oil, which first of all, let's see if it's optionable. Yeah, it's got some options. Tight spread's good. Cheaper stock. Could just buy the stock outright. You can see right here that this is actually setting up double bottom formation, and it's got a really nice chart pattern, that uppercut chart pattern right there. And it's retesting the 50. So generally these trades don't get taken. Um, unless the 50 is below the 20 and the 21 and the 8 EMA, which it's not on either time frame, which is very, very important to note. Um, but what happens is when these pinch together like this, and if they pinch together over a period of time, and this one's been pinching for a couple of weeks now, a few weeks, a month, they tend to have a big shoot, boom, like an explosive move when they do break out. And that might set that up several dollars on a 17, $18 stock. So that can be good. Now, that being said, if it doesn't go up, it's going to fail. And so this is again, it's not the typical trade safe trade setup. It's not the hey, everything's great, we're in an uptrend, everything's moving in the right direction. This is a anticipatory trade, anticipating that it will get that pinch and it will break out to the upside. So there's the challenge with this one. You're getting in on a lower probability trade, anticipating for a higher reward. And the reward potential on this is definitely going to make it up to 20, or should make it up to minimum 20 or higher. You know, it could be anywhere. It could be 20, 60, it could be 21, could be even higher than that. Once it pinches and breaks out, those moves can be quite big. Pinches and breaks out. This one didn't go so far. Not really a setup. But this one here, yeah, it's again, it's just that, it's that setup. So the question is, you got to make a decision. Measure probability versus, um, you know, reward to risk, and that's kind of the case right here. So the risk in here is going to be 63 cents, roughly. 63 cents, 73 cents, 74 cents, 75 cents for potential 1, 2, 3, 3 to 1. So say 18, 19, yeah, maybe a 2 to 1 or better. This could just be an obstacle. If it breaks out back above these moving averages, it will initially push up and then it'll hesitate. It'll come back down because it needs to collect orders off the moving averages as they begin to now start pushing back up, and then it will take off on a next rally. So, rather than taking it now, I'm going to write this on my list, cog, and I'll just wait for the initial breakout to occur. And how I'll do that is by setting up an alert. Great, just that easy. Good. All right, let's take a peek at the futures quick. So S&P still just going sideways. No decisions. Gold has bounced off that 15. I was looking at that. It looked like it was going to hold there. That's okay. I haven't been taking a lot of those moving average trades lately. So it looks like copper is actually working off that level. Unfortunately, I got that bad slip on the entry, so I took on, my risk was going to be more than my allotted amount. So I had to stop out early, unfortunately. That sucks. Oil worked out really well. I got out too early, obviously. And it's great at picking zones. Managing trades become more of a challenge sometimes, especially in front of an audience. This is where it becomes a little bit like stage fright. Natural gas has retraced back to that 15 moving average here. The moving average is on a 15. It's kind of pierced them, so they're looking kind of weak. Not a great setup. Euro, we were watching the euro. It was getting close to that zone, and I completely forgot about it. So it looks like it did touch that level, gave a tiny little push away. We said that that may not give a whole lot because the amount of candles in this area has been burning a lot of orders in this area. It's a lower volume area as well, except for that move out was a nice volume. So maybe a deeper push in euro. I'm going to reset a new alert just above the last one. And let's see if we get a bit deeper push in or not. And the CAD, oh, finally, the CAD's starting to move. All right, so let's take a look at the CAD here. So we got an alert set on the CAD for a nice high volume. There's a high volume level here. Problem is there's a couple high volume levels above. 13 ticks of risk. Ugh. So the risk to reward just went to nothing. Yeah. All right, so there's not going to be much in the way of risk to reward on this trade now. Okay, so go back to options. And let me do something real quick here as well. Um, just give me 1 second, folks, as I am there we go. All right. Um, Sorry, just rearranging a couple charts here. Just give me a few minutes. I'll be right back. This is the thing about the live stream. It's there is no pausing the recording. No, that's not what I want. What do we got going off here? Alerts, chart alert. Okay. Think here. Okay. All right. And two more. All right. Okay. Let's see. Looks like the S&P is breaking to the downside here, folks. Well, that's a little premature, actually. Gold's definitely pushing up, though. Damn it. And oil looks like it's making a run up as well. Euro is dropping off that level. Didn't get that deeper push in, unfortunately. Didn't even touch the level. Missed it by a tick. That's okay. Let's take a peek. What's going on? 6:15. Nothing manufacturing. 1 minute, we got economic optimism. Nobody cares about that one. Canadian Government Council member speaks. Not much. All right, 7 o'clock. Ah, dang. All right. Wow, gold came back to that level and just smoked it. That's a good thing. Let's hope this gold sets up a double top setup maybe. The S&P looks like it is. Not the happiest of days. It's going to drag down some of the option setups possibly. Let's take a look at that. How are they doing? MDT's up nicely. What the heck? Comcast? How did that happen? Save this grid. Oh, that's IBM. So Comcast up, Coke up, MDT up nice. Dow's down slightly and IBM's down slightly. Well, IBM's down significantly. Let's take a look at IBM here. Wow, you know what? This is setting up right here. Let's just quickly stick to this 5-minute chart here, is setting up a level right there. Why is that not showing? Hmm, it's interesting. There we go. All right, so we have a level formed here just above us on the S&P, which is a 2-point level. That's valid. So here's the conflict. 60-minute moving averages, confluencing, and holding clearly. Trending up on a 60-minute. In fact, we could probably go as far as to say there is a, well, nope, that wouldn't qualify. Nope, definitely not. All right, so the question is, do we take that short? 60-minute, 240. Let's quickly go through the time frames. 240, 120. Wow, 120 minute too. 60 we looked at, 30. Yeah, there's a lot of evidence that's pointing against this trade working. Doesn't mean not going to take it, because it is a setup. It's made a higher low. Sorry, I'm just taking a look at a 240 minute here on another chart, another screen. It's in the context of an uptrend. Oksana, you talking about the S&P? The US futures? Sorry, I wasn't looking at that chat. Yes, this little zone right here. I just don't think that's got enough in it. Oh, sorry, looking at the wrong chart. Talking to this one right here. I don't think that's got enough in it. I don't think so. I want to sell this thing short when it gets back here, if it gets back there. Yeah, it's not going to get back there probably. I'm going to set that order up. Leave that one in there. I would love to see this thing just pop back into that zone and drop out. Obviously, ultimate target being, if I can get this thing to move here for me. Let's take a look at these charts. Okay, show orders. Yeah, that hourly chart's going to be a headache trying to get through those levels. But there's a great, like, well, overnight setup, mind you, down here. Just a matter of getting it down there. Just taking a look here. Let's see. We're going to give that one a shot. Yeah, that 240 minute candle's still open technically. Or the 480 you're talking? Oh, come on. Oh, 480. Let's take a look at the 480 chart. I never look at that chart. Yeah, that 480 has a higher low. Well, it missed us by one tick on the entry. One tick. That sucks. All right. Let's leave it, see if it comes back. If not. Looks like copper's setting up to go lower again. Oil, wow, oil's pushed all the way back up. So it did give a nice little push down. Yeah, now it's back. And the S&P trade, we missed it by a tick. Okay. So now that 60 moving average got tested again. 60 period moving average, or the 60-minute moving average. All right, so doesn't look like this is going to fill. I got a feeling it's going to probably, well, maybe we get lucky and it gives it another wick up, but I think it's going to probably just keep going lower. And that's unfortunate. Let's take a quick peek at some option setups here. This is not happening. Let's go XRT. Another big sell-off yesterday in XRT. Retail sector. I can't believe the retail sector is where it is. It just blows my mind. How does this make any sense? How is that logical? I guess this particular sector ETF has a lot of probably um, online stuff to it. All right. So it's at this point, if we break below this, oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong chart here for you. We've kind of almost broke below that, kind of failed and held slightly. I'm not sure if this is going to be valid anymore as a shorting area, simply because we've now had our initial push. It's moved 6 points from that range, and it's now kind of holding here. If it gives a second push up and breaks above this wick, then it's kind of breaking that trend, that downtrend. So it may be a little bit, we could still maybe do it, but let's put this order just a slight bit higher. See if it does push back into that range. I really don't think it's going to get there, but we'll we'll see. Close at 7. So your candle closed at 7, Oksana. That so it depends how they're calculated and what charting platform are you using? I guess I should ask that question. Okay, so my charting package, it's a 4 a.m. candle. My 240-minute candle began at 4 a.m. So it ends at 8. Um, and let's see if I can show you the settings for that. So my start time is at midnight on this one. So it just trades 24 hours through. Different platforms have different ways they do it. Some of them start at the open. The problem with starting at the open on the S&P in particular, if your candle starts at the open of the market is half hour past 6:30. So what ends up happening is that candle is giving a, you know, at least in my opinion, somewhat inaccurate information as per all the other trading platforms. So it's if you ever notice TradeStation, I'm going to pull up here S&P 240-minute on a different platform. Yeah, I'm looking at Thinkorswim right now, which I don't have. Thinkorswim in Canada doesn't give us accurate data on our futures trading. It's actually even probably delayed, I think. Now I'm wondering actually. Um, but yeah, the candle looks different on this platform as well. So, I mean, who knows? This is one of the dilemmas that people face with trading futures. Is like every platform has a slightly different looking candle, and and depending on how it's gauged, is it intraday? Is it regular trading hours, Globex hours, or is it calculating overnight, starting at the hour, half hour? And for things like oil, or not oil, gold, which opens up at 20 minutes past 5, even a 15-minute candle is inaccurate. What do we got going off here? So was that euro? No. Hmm. Just had an alert trigger. Not really sure which one it is. It is. Oh, maybe it's not this platform. All right, all of a sudden, all kinds of things going on here. 621, 715. So it sounds like it was triggered on this platform, but I don't see the alert. Unless I'm, nope, nope. I never reached the Euro alert. Okay, let me pull up my alerts window here. One sec. I kind of get fixated on things like this. It's like, what's going on? Why is it happening? Alert manager. Here we go. Says I got an alert on the Canadian dollar 15-minute chart. So I'm looking at the 15-minute chart and I don't see an alert. Oh, it's on this one. This particular chart is not set up to show its, actually, I should change that actually. So it shows the lines on the other chart screens. There we go. So it came up, touched our level. All right. We said we were going to watch this one. Again, because this level was formed in high volume time of day, right before this level, it really kind of removed, and this is two levels, it really kind of removed a lot of the reward potential in this trade. It's going to give a little bit of uncertainty as to which direction it's going to go. Um, so that was one that we were watching, but not overly enthusiastic about. This S&P trade looks like it's building up a bottom here, maybe. Really, really like this level. Kind of missed the initial push. Hesitant about taking it on the second time around, but what it's doing is it's building up a level right below the entry now. Let's see what happens. There's obviously some buyers down here. You were right about that level on that 10-minute level. There's some buyers in here, and they're basically ping-ponging between these two areas. And this one triggered before it got to that area. It's a moving average move. All right. Okay, so let's take a look here. Yeah, I think my open's at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. So you're opening after the close down. Yeah, and again, that's how some people do it, have it set up like that as well. Um, or at the Sunday open, I guess it would be when the market opens up on Sunday. No, there's no trade station in Canada. Yeah. So I use Sierra charts as my charting package and then Interactive Brokers as my base broker because basically every other broker in Canada costs a ridiculous amount. They are absurdly expensive. All right, so looking at this right here, Sting, let's take a look at the options on this. Never heard of this company. Wow, high volume options. Oh, it's only a $12 stock. 10-cent spread. That's 5%. That's good. Um, why do I have this here? Did we put an order in to buy this thing? Must have put an order in to buy it, and I don't know why that's there actually. Maybe I just clicked on the screen. Still got that Logitech order sitting outstanding. Let's come back to Sting in 1 second. Let's take a look at Logi. Yeah, Logitech order never came back and filled. That's okay. It's still, I'm going to leave that one out there. Let's go back to Sting. Scorpion tankers. Okay, so here's my love of this chart. Look at the weekly. So let's zoom in on this. So that weekly got back up above those moving averages and it's holding. Now, of course, this week it's pulling back a little bit. And I'm sure that if I look at, let's take a look here. What's the S&P doing right now? It's just kind of hesitating, hanging out, saying, "Hey boys, what's going on?" So it's basically holding right here. It's below on the hourly, which doesn't look good, but it's basically holding right here. This would be an aggressive entry entering it today for sure. But this likely has some room to move. It's got a couple bucks or a few bucks, maybe $4 of potential in here for a move. It's just reversing the trend on a weekly. That's a big deal. When a stock reverses a trend on a weekly, it's a big deal. Let's take a look at some fundamentals on this company. This might be a longer term play. Okay, so market cap 700 million, trading at a 4 to 1 PE, 4.1 PE ratio. It's been profitable. They had earnings per share gains in loss in Q3 of 2019 of 91 cents, gain of 24 cents in Q4, 77 in Q1. 2000 Q1 is a $2.37 gain. Or sorry, Q2. Q3, loss of 37 cents. But 4-time multiple. You know what? I'm going to look at this thing here. It's been in a horrible downtrend since 2015. This is obviously a proxy for the oil industry. Scorpion Tankers, Monaco-based company active in oil transport industry. The company is engaging in seaborne transport of refinery petroleum oil. All right. So 2019, we'd hit a low of around 15. We went up to 39. Look at that. Jeez. And then COVID collapsed it. This company pays a 10-cent dividend on a $12 stock. What? Is that for real? That's an 8% dividend, almost. What the heck? Wow. All right. Which account do I have here? It's corporate account. All right, so I'm going to take a look at this as an actual stock play and maybe as longer term holdings. And I think I'll start piecing into this because it's set up. I mean, I know it's looking weak. It's probably going to pull back a little bit deeper still, but it's setting up right now as on the higher time frame. This is looking like it's setting up a bottom right here. See that? That's the identical setup right there. We've kind of got an initial move here. We got to pull back, maybe pick up some more at 10. And look at that. Hmm. Oil still wasn't expensive when this was happening. What was the price of oil back then? Let's just take a peek. Let's do a little bit of research on this before we jump into it. S&P, what is it doing here? Nothing. Oil. So let's go back on a daily chart. Can I bring this up to a daily chart? Nope. Sorry. Just jumped myself out of oil. There we go. Yeah, sure. There we go. Just totally screwed up my chart. Chart settings. Okay. Let's give this a second to work itself out. There we go. Thank you. Chart settings. I'm not going to be able to change this for some reason. I'm new to this separating screens, like charts, duplicating charts to different screens. It's kind of got me a little bit messed up here. So let me just see if I can do it this way instead. I want to go back to, I'm going to add more time to this chart and I'll bring it up for you. Actually, I don't even need this one. Let's leave that one. I'm looking at the wrong chart here. Let's go to this one. All right, so if I duplicate this chart, okay, how do I do this? Windows. Come on. I don't do this stuff often enough, like duplicating all this stuff. It was just a nightmare figuring it all out. I just want to duplicate this window. How do I do this? Okay, alert chart. Next, go to previous chart, next chart. Detach, attach. Windows always arrange minimum. For some reason, it doesn't want to let me detach this window. Well, in any case, okay, let me just quickly go over it here. This, looking at crude oil here, between 2019, the price of crude oil actually, from the beginning of 2019, started off at about 48, went up as high as 67, and basically kind of hung out there from March on between 52 and 67. So looking at this company here, and going back to 2019, started at 15, and by March, January, February, March, April, it was still 18. It was basically not a whole lot of a move. From then, $20 to $40, 100% move. Pretty nice move right there. And that was 2020, and that's when coronavirus hit. So it was already on a track to improvement quite significantly before coronavirus hit. And then it sold off quite significantly as well, as oil did, down to, well, it went negative for a little while there. So oil's kind of recovered here. This company has not necessarily recovered. So maybe this has to do with the fundamental reason why it's not fully recovered to its extent of where it should be to match up with oil. It could be to do with the new presidency maybe coming in saying that they're going to, who knows, maybe they'll stop shipping strategic reserves, pushing more towards um, renewable resources, things like that. So that could be having an effect. Either way, it's pushing down. And I'm going to keep this one on my list as I will start watching this very closely and looking for some entry opportunities. I still believe the freight companies are going to work, just maybe not at that moment. All right, so let's take a look at the futures now. Looks like that level's still working off the S&P. Missed our entry by a tick, and it's basically retested these moving averages, which was a second entry, but I wanted a deeper entry, and it's working its way down. Okay, so missed trade. Gold, it's touched that level, it held out at that level, and it began dropping from that level, never took it. Retested it, it's basically consolidating in between here. I would love to see this thing break lower right now. I'd love to see it get below this 1850-20 area, 1850-30 area, and close below it. That would be very important to me, but I don't think it's going to. Copper. So that copper short worked nicely, in fact, but because of that initial bad entry, my risk had to be tightened up, and unfortunately, my stop got hit before it worked. So should have waited for a zone entry on that trade. That was my own fault. That was my mismanagement, and I have two of those today. Oil, short on oil. Whoops, sorry, short on oil here. Um, got in, set up right at the open. Didn't want to risk the volatility swing on the open, so got out with a small profit. And then, of course, it did make its significant move. You know, that's if you're talking from the zone down, you're looking at 45 to roughly 12, 15. So it's a 30 tick move. That's $600 on two contracts. So I mismanaged that one too. And that's two that I've mismanaged today. And that's enough for this week. Natural gas. Natural gas, actually, let's take a look at this. This has got a great little area right here. Look at that. Beautiful. Got to set that up. Can't just miss on that one. So natural gas is a nice little setup right there. Nice little area of interest. Got to keep an eye on that one and even send an alert on that one right there. So that's good. We'll keep an eye for that one. Again, natural gas, we were watching this before in the hourly chart, and it's making that rounded top formation. And we're looking at it breaking below this level, and it broke below that level. And there was a couple levels above we were talking about. So let's take a closer look at these. There was that one level there, and now let's take this to a higher time frame because this chart's not going to do what I want. Yeah, you know, these are all low volume levels, and there's the challenge. So not great quality, but there's two levels right there and there. But we're basing right before it. Um, yeah, it's better on a 60-minute chart, honestly. 60-minute chart. I mean, even these levels are just, they may or may not work. Probably lower probability, just the time of day they were formed, the amount of time they took to form, and the fact that they're really only visible on 15 and 5. They're visible on two time frames. Okay, well, either way, they're there. Let's set an alert up for that as well. Really don't like that we're setting up like this is a 15-minute chart or 60-minute chart, but if we go to a 15 here, really not too keen on this. Right before it comes into a potential level. So not too interested in that. Definitely interested in this. High volume. Yeah. Okay. So that's nat gas. Euro did come into our level. Didn't like the reward to risk on this one. And it actually did hold off this little formation, which actually, you know, that would have been even a tradable area, but it never made it there. It was two ticks above. And it's basically ping ponging between those two areas. That's okay. Canadian dollar still, it touched it, it moved away slightly. This is a high volume area. The problem is it's such a wide area. And again, the reward to risk in this trade is basically annihilated because these are high volume levels that were formed on the way up. So not a whole lot over there either. This one is still just chopping around, slowly working its way down. Let's go back to the options charts. 735. So let's do an options check. What do we got? All right, so Sting is pushing lower. Okay, it's kind of expected. It's just chart pattern. Like this chart pattern is the most beautiful one. You know, you got that push up, that double top, that retest, the consolidating moving averages, that just inverting and it's retesting. Boom. You know, could have taken that for a short-term short right there. Actually, would have been viable. It's conflicting obviously with the daily chart and the other time frames, but that is a setup. That is a perfect setup right there. All right, let's take a look at what we got here. MDT. MDT set up yesterday, working, or 2 days ago, working quite nicely. Yep, it's up nicely. Got IBM, oh sorry, Coca-Cola. That trade is just slightly working, not great. IBM, on the other hand, is the bane of our existence right now. It had a nice setup. Really do not like this formation on the chart. Give it another day though. What else we got? Comcast, CMCSA, Comcast, CMCSA, which retested that moving average, that trend line, and that trend line's given a bit of a pushback. Kind of talked about that potentially being an obstacle. Doesn't mean it's a reversal point, but an obstacle. So still waiting for that uppercut to fulfill. Let's hope this is just a pullback and the context it's going to, because this is all setting up like it's going to go higher here. And that's what we looked at this day. We said we're getting in aggressive prior to the breakout of that moving average, the 50 period on the 1 hour. And now it's back above. That's going to serve as support, as will the other moving averages below. So everything's looking good here. Nothing wrong with that. Comcast, and that's basically it, I think. Dow on the other, it's on a different platform. I've had this forever. This has just been sucking the life out of me. Maybe it's time to put a nail in this coffin, actually. I'll wait till it breaks below 52.80. If it breaks below that, I'll set an alert here. There we go. So if it breaks below 52.80, I'm going to close this thing down. It's just been eating up time. I got 94 days left in the contract. It's just eating up time is all it's doing. It's not doing anything but eating time. All right, so what time is it? 8:38. Let's take a quick peek at the indexes. How's the S&P doing? Pulling back. Like I said, those gap ups, they concern me, right? These gap ups in the S&P and the indexes here like this. This is going to be an inside day today, so it's going to be a pretty not awesome day. But when you get a gap up and it leaves a wick, pushes up initially in the morning, and then likely going to fail. So that's exactly what we've seen yesterday, and that's exactly what we're seeing today. Except yesterday was an outside gap. So not looking great on the S&P. Yeah, everything's pulling back except for MDT. It's okay. It's all right. Any questions? Anything? Anybody? All good? All right, let's take a look at a few new charts here. We've got Wynn Resorts. It's got room to move. Wow, look at that. Hmm. Back down to 103. That's got room. How are the options? I think the options are good on wind. Yeah, really good. I gotta add that to my list. Is this on my list? It is now. Okay, so this is a very similar setup once again. See that? Pinching, consolidating for a long period of time below that 50 period moving average, and it's kind of been testing and testing, and then it gets above, and then boom, look at that. We talked about this earlier as being a major reason for getting into those types of trades at pinches. I always like to see it kind of get above. That's why I set that alert on that trade, which I believe was COG, and then major gap up. Look at that run. So right now we've been consolidating here for quite some, or driving quite some time, holding that moving average, and now it's consolidating. A big sell-off yesterday, I guess, with the entire market. Kind of gapped up today, and it's actually holding better than the other markets. So the question is, will this weekly chart end up being a rally-based rally or a rally-based drop? Problem with Win, again, it's an expensive stock and it's incredibly volatile, high beta. So if it does pull back, it could pull back significantly. 1, 10, 3, 9, 6. This candle really bothers me. Let's chart out the options on this and see what it looks like. March and June. So March 94 days, June 183. Let's go to the June contract. Got lots and lots of volume here. The 110 contract has a 1725 to 1760 spread. Very nice. 5,000 open interest. That's interesting. So there are 5,400 open interest on this contract, as well as on the 95 contract, 5,200 open interest, which is significantly above everybody else. So that means that this is a vertical spread. This is a vertical spread. So this is a $15 spread with a difference in price. Okay, we're going to do a little analysis here. Let's set this up as a vertical and analyze this as the 110. And let's do it as though we were Is the open interest on the put side? Nothing. So this is definitely a call spread. So the 110 to 105 call spread. So let me see, can I show this to you without advertising my account information? I think I can. Let's pull this up. All right, so what we're looking at right here is this should be 110. Let's change this real quick. We're looking at the 110, 105 call spread. And if you buy the 105, if you sell the 110, see this is really odd how they got this set. The volume states, let's go to single here. The volume here, move this, 12. There's a trade right here. There's a trade. There's 5,400 and 5,200. So somebody's got roughly 5,000 contracts right here in this vertical spread between the 110 and the 105. God, of course. All right, let's quickly jump away, take a quick peek at the futures and see what's happening. All right, so that S&P trade is no longer valid. Let's get rid of this trade. Sorry, we'll come back to that vertical spread in a second, guys. Let me just manage the futures. Unfortunately, I missed this by a tick. Worked out nice. We just had an alert go off. That would be, must be on natural gas. Wow, look at that drive into that level. All right, that's a low volume level, so zero effect and came off that formation right there. So good on us to note that. It's now coming into that second level, which again, look at the volume. There's basically no volume at all. But now it's extended, and now it has actually a little bit of range to move here. So it actually could pull back a little bit here. But what is going on with nat gas? Today is Tuesday, so it's not inventory. All right. So alert went off on the euro. So the euro hit that level once, had to push away, and it's kind of built a level below it, and now it's pushing up into it. So it's negating this level for me. Not interested in it. Yeah, see what happens is the CAD's doing exactly what we thought it would do as well. It's just ping-ponging between these two levels. So I don't see anything here that I want to do except for nat gas. Right there, nat gas. This nat gas level had a great entry into this area, but that area is location-wise is good. How much time left in this candle? 12 minutes. Oh my God. Let's go to a 5-minute chart. Five-minute chart, 2 minutes and 28 seconds. It's still too much time left. Nat gas daily on a downtrend. Hourly, it just broke back above. I mean, I think this is going to work. I'm going to set this trade up. It may push through, and that would probably be right with my 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 happenings today. What just happened here? Why is it not showing on this chart? Shorters and positions. There we go. All right. So short nat gas. Let's quickly journal this. All right. Screen print right there. Here comes the second push in. That's okay. These low volume levels there, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Okay. All right, that 1 minute chart was telling us it wants to go higher. You can see that pattern on the 1 minute right there. But the 15-minute level, I mean, it's a good level. It's just incredibly low volume. So we'll see if it holds. We're going to need to break down some moving averages to get back out of this thing. Obviously, we don't want to have this above that level or below that level. It's got to be above. And will this fully reverse price? Oh, I doubt it. Let's take a look here. God, that's way too bright. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that as well. It's too bright. There we go. That's better. Let's remove this. So what we're looking at, we have that trend line influencing price above. We have our level of supply-ish, low volume sell orders above, and we have a level right below of high volume. So we got to be extra vigilant on this particular trade. We may only be able to get a couple $100 out of it, um, but this is going to become an obstacle, a major obstacle. All right, let's hold on to this for a little bit. Shorted gold, love the bands. How did you get them? I made these things here, these areas. Yeah, I made them. Um, it was it was a nightmare trying to figure out how to color in. Like you can color above them. You got to use the. Is that what you're referring to? First of all, I should ask. Yeah. You got to color in above a moving average and then below a moving average, and then you have to. I mean, I wouldn't know how to do it on TradeStation, and it took me a ton of research to do it on this platform. But then figuring out how to limit it to say color be above this one and below this one. I don't know. It was a challenge. All right, so this trade's pushing off that 1 minute moving average. That it's still gonna work. It's okay. That's all right. 6 minutes left in this candle. Yeah, it's a terrible finish to that candle. So we got a minute and 45 seconds left. Let's get this thing to sell back off before it closes. Let's take a quick look at gold. Oksana shorted gold. Nice. Did you short up in here, Oksana? Short entry on gold is 1854. Okay. 1854. All right. So what time frame were you getting your analysis off? I'm on a 15. It wasn't this chart probably. Say a 5 minute maybe? Yeah, this switch of the moving averages. Okay, good. And look at that setup right now, right? So this is actually setting up for a future. Well, we need continuation. It's got to break below that 1850-30 like we talked about earlier. But oh, on a 2 minute. Oh, interesting. Oh yeah, look at that. Hmm. Okay, good. Got that crossover and a nice switch up, moving its way down. Yeah, good. All right. Let's move this out of the way here real quick. We'll come back to that analysis, that little lesson on that swing trade in a minute. An eye on things. Where are we here? What? Don't tell me I lost one of my saved windows. That blows. Ah, it sucks. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. All right. We're looking at gold. Yeah, gold looks like it's about to pop. I'm not much of a breakout trader. So on gold, probably wouldn't take it, although it sure does look sweet. I would wait for the retest. All right. Oh my gosh. Oh, this will be the last trade of the day here. I'll let this one run itself down a bit. I've got to do drywall today. Yes, I get to go and hold drywall up over my head while screwing it in. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to get a good shoulder workout. It's going to be fantastic. Bought this place and pretty stoked. We tried buying a couple other places and we just kept missing out, just a little bit too stingy. And then we finally got a nice duplex, fully run down, fully run down. And so we got a good price on it, fixing it all up. It's kind of nice, you get that feeling of, hey, I did this. So it's a good feeling. And then it's working out quite well. There's such high demand for rentals out here. This property is going to be net profitable, close to $1,000 per month, over and above all expenses, um, right away. So that means you should be able to pay it off relatively quick without really investing much capital into it. It's producing a good return on investment. So it's great. That's the process. Rentals right now. Okay, move. Do something here. 60 bucks. Come on. Push it. Push, 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 push. All right. So let's go back to the analysis piece as we wait for this thing to actually come to life and do something. There we go. Starting to finally move a little bit. Let's hope this moving average isn't going to have an effect. It's up 120. 140. Looks like it's coming to life a little bit. All right. First of all, 2 minutes till 8 a.m. So check for major news events. There are nothing. There is nothing. No major news events coming out. Always be aware. Keep an eye on that. As you can see, I've been looking at bathrooms. I just reskinned the bathroom in this place, one of the bathrooms the other day. All right, so no major news events. We know what the obstacles are. The obstacles are going to be the 5-minute chart and the 15-minute chart. So we have a 50 moving average right here. The moving averages are inverted, but we got the 8 back above the 21. So now, they're supported price right there. So they're clearly active. But we're up a bit above the 50 and we're kind of a ways away from where we're started here. On the 60-minute, we are in a downtrend and close to that trend line. Um, context of an uptrend. It could be a corrective move in the context of I mean, on the daily chart, it's in a downtrend and it's bouncing off the 21 moving average. On the 240-minute chart, it's not giving us any evidence. It just opened up a new candle on the 240-minute. And that last candle was bullish on a 240-minute, so we'll take a look at that. Kind of just working through the time frames here. So this will also be a 120-minute candle. And the fact that we have that wick above is kind of a nice little thing. So that wick on the 240, wick on a 120, and on a 60. So that's a good thing. See if we push up into those wicks and push back down a little bit. We got sorry, not 5, a 15-minute chart, a wick above on a 15-minute chart as well. It's not really having much of an effect at the moment. And a 5-minute chart, which is set up like it's fully wanting to go higher. Well, that's okay. This may end up kicking us in the teeth. Dang, this has been a tough day. Mismanaged 2 in the third trade. Looks like it wants to fail. All right, it's gonna hold. Come on. Come on. The waiting game. So again, this level, which is again a low volume level, um, obviously not having as big of an effect as we'd wanted to. We're kind of leaning more on the fact that there is a significant trend line here, which may or may not make a difference at this point. Doesn't look like it's making a whole lot of difference. The buyers are looking pretty strong on natural gas right now. Okay, let's take a look at a 15-minute chart for a minute. Still looking for reasons for success or failure. We've now just come into a little bit higher level up here, which is again just an overnight level. No real volume in it. It's giving a slight pushback. We are not getting the double top formation I was kind of hoping for. Time is it? Oh, it's after 8. Okay, so I got to actually shut down and run. All right, so I've got a bail here, and I'll just leave this one on. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the class or the session. I hope it was interesting to you. Not as productive today as yesterday, obviously, unfortunately. Quick little recap. Oil trade actually was a valid trade. It did work, but I got out too early because of the open volatility. That was my own fault, my mistake. Copper trade actually did work. I got a bad slip on the entry, and then the risk became too great, so I got stopped out before it actually where my stop out should have been, and that trade actually did work. S&P trade, we got missed by a tick, and that trade is still working. That's a 10 point move on that trade, 11-point move so far on that trade. It's $1,000 on 2 contracts. So that trade did work, but missed us by a tick, unfortunately. The euro level did work as well, although we weren't going to take it because of the context of that setup. But that level did actually work. Canadian dollar actually touched and gave a push, but again, never took that one either because of this context. And nat gas, the first level we looked at, it failed outright, and it was an overnight level, and we were okay with that, kind of accepting that. Second level gave a bit of a push. We're up around $160 at one point, and then it's pushing against, and that wasn't even 1-to-1. So this trade's probably not looking great, but I'm going to leave this on. So Not a great day. The option trades are doing good. Um, would have liked to have put more or set up more option trades here. It's Tuesday. It's a good day to set some up, but not a great day in all in the futures trading. Unfortunately, just my mismanagement of trades. All right, but thanks again for attending, everybody. I appreciate it. And Oksana, always great having you in here. Thank you for conversing with me. Having a conversation makes it a lot easier over a 2.5 hour span of time when you're kind of just hanging out. So thanks very much for participating. I really do appreciate it. And this is kind of fun. I like it. It's a bit of a setup in the morning. It kind of throws me off a little bit, but I'm getting better at it, more proficient. So I'll keep it going. All right. Have yourself a great day. Going to be ending the stream. Uh, good, good trading. Stay green.